Hey, what's up, guys? I'm joined with Stacks for Wi-Fi Division PR.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Stacks. So finally, we got time to do the PR for Wi-Fi Division. People are waiting for us. So it's exciting to finally have you. Uh,
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
let's start with Articunos then.
Articunos? Okay.
Los Angeles
Um,
Articunos, coached by Lalo.
yes, so this one has Rillaboom, Arcanine, Sneasler, and Sylveon as the main core. I think that's a pretty strong start. Really good defensively, like with switch-ins. I think Sneasler is a really good offensive mon for the B tier. And then there's like Tailwind with Mandibuzz, Trick Room with Oranguru. Pretty solid start.
And they got both the good priority mons with Rillaboom and Arcanine that can really offensive pressure on their opponent. Sneasler and Rillaboom both have access to fake out, so they can set up their team really well. If they wanted to go for Trick Room or Tailwind, they can manage to easily set up both of those speed control
Yeah,
easily. And I guess Rhydon and Sandaconda are really conflicting picks in this team.
yeah, they seem well. There's actually three fake outs, and the palm also has fake out. But yeah, I don't really fully understand Rhydon and Sandaconda. I guess Rhydon is another Trick Room Pokemon, most likely. Like you can maybe do some like weakness policy stuff with it. I guess maybe with like Aqua Jet for Alligator or something like that. Um, Same with Sandaconda. And then Sandaconda's Sandstorm, like the sand spit ability, I guess it sets up sand for Rhydon, which benefits from having more bulk. Um, I don't fully understand those picks, but they are D tier picks. My problem with this team is more so that I don't think that it has like a Pokemon that is going to be super strong offensively consistently, because I think Sneasler is a bit too frail. I don't think that Pokemon can really carry this team offensively each week, but it is very solidly built, I will say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm also seeing that there is no real offensive mon in this team. Like Rillaboom can pick one or two chaos for you, or can do the same trick for this team. But other than that, they really have to rely on Sylveon to work really well under Trick Room. Uh,
Yeah.
they don't have any good tailwind sweeper in this team. So what they can do is uh, they can really pick Dragapult or something other than that. From like Dragapult is A tier, I guess, right? And recently Name dropped it, so they can easily pick it up and use it uh, as a
Yeah.
really good fast sweeper for this team because they don't have any dragon type in their team currently, so they will really benefit from that. So how do you?
So I put this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I put this team in B tier, like a mid B tier. I don't know how you would rank them.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Like they really need a really offensive mon to go really hard into playoffs. Otherwise, they will easily be crushed out of uh, quarterfinals.
Yeah,
Easy. So next
agree.
up, we have Sableye, coached by Mr. Goblin.
Yeah. So This one is really interesting. It relies on Deoxys and Iron Moth for offensive pressure, both of which are very, very strong, but also very frail. So I think this team really needed a lot of secondary support pieces to allow these Pokemon to sweep. And I think they did that like with Clefairy, Friend Guard redirection is really valuable. They have Intimidate with Luxray, Empoleon is a bulky switch in, um, and Serena has priority blocking. But I still think that this team might be too reliant on very frail Pokemon in order to win each game.
Yeah, so I battled them in my first week. So what they did was like used Clefairy to redirect and use uh, spread moves with Deoxys and Iron Moth. Like with Deoxys they use Terra Rock Slide, and with Iron Moth they Terra Grass so that they don't take super effective ground moves or rock moves from my team, which could easily one hit
Mm.
KO Iron Moth, and they used Heat Wave on Iron Moth. So I guess until unless they are not getting hit by opposing team, they can really take quite a lot KOs easily because you can run uh, booster energy on Iron Moth to increase its special attack. You don't care about speed because you are not getting hit anyways. So if you move uh, at last as well, you are still going to hit like a truck. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
the only issue here is that they're only redirecting Mon is Clefairy. If they wanted to go with that strategy, they should get Pachirisu instead of Luxray or Hunchcrow so that they have
Yeah.
another redirecting Mon in their team. Other than that,
Another thing,
they
yeah, another
surprised
thing
me
that
with like Clefairy using Endeavor and it screwed me over.
yeah, yeah. The one more thing I will say on this team is that like if you can get up Trick Room against this team, it's kind of over because the only Pokemon on this team I'm pretty sure that knows Trick Room and Imprison is Deoxys. So it's really hard for them to deny Trick Room. They have to pretty much bring like a taunt Pokemon, but like, you can run Mental Herb so that you can set up Trick Room more easily. I think it's going to be difficult for this team to stop like a slower mode or like spread damage would be really hard for this team to deal with. But I guess we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess can put it in low A tier.
So A, I would, yeah, I mean, I kind of had them closer to B, but I think A is like low A is okay. Okay.
Okay, so next up we have Lucarios.
Okay. So this is a team by One Crash 94. I think this team is strong. It's very, very bulky, like extremely bulky. I don't think there's really a frail mon on this team besides Shiftry and Lycanroc. Um, so it's built very defensively. One gripe I have with it is that it's very weak to fairy with like the top four Pokemon, Raging Bolt, Latias, Umbreon, and Okidogi. There's three weaknesses to Fairy and no resistances. The only resistances on this team are Skeledirge and Tinkaton, which are like okay Pokemon, like they're not great. Um, so against like Fairy types, I think this team is really gonna struggle. Um, they have Tailwind with Latias. They have. I don't know that they have Trick Room. I don't think they have Trick Room. But the Tailwind mode is interesting with Shift Tree. Umbreon is, I think, really good support, damage control. They don't have immediate damage control with Intimidate, but I think Umbreon can kind of fill that gap a little bit.
Yeah, they can
And yeah, I
use
think it's
baby
a
doll
good plan.
eyes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, as you said that their team is really frail to fairy, and the only two mons that can resist fairy are also weak to ground. So those two weaknesses really going to punish their team if their opponent plan to prepare really well for this team. They just run Terra ground or Terra fairy against them, and it will really wall this team. Uh, but on the other hand, Latias can set up Tailwind and can set up Trick Room for them as well if they wanted to go for a slow mode as well for Skelly Reg, and maybe Okidoki and Tinkerton as well can utilize Trick Room mode along with Raging Bolt. So this team is really well built according to me. Like they can hit really hard, and they got a priority moves in Raging Bolt as well. Fake out can be so Tinkerton can do fake out as well.
Yeah. I forgot that Latios also gets Trick Room. That's a good point. Another interesting thing is the Dragon Cheer synergy between Latias and Raging Bolt, where you can pretty much get Raging Bolt to a guaranteed critical hit Draco Meteor, which is extremely scary off that 137 base special attack. So that's an interesting mode to keep an eye out for. Um, I think there's other interesting options that this team can go for, like Okidogi. If you ignore it for too long, it can just sweep you after it gets enough bulk up boosts. It can also weigh your team down with poison. So I think this is a cool team. Me personally, I would have this team like in high C tier, but I can see an argument for it being like in B tier as well.
Like for me, it's in B tier because it's really scary to face this team. If you are not prepared really well, it can easily sweep you out. Other than that, yeah, for four weaknesses to fairy and two weaknesses to ground, or like three weaknesses to ground, it's really easy to prepare for this team.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, we can put it in like B tier, uh,
Sure thing.
like low B tier.
Yep, I agree.
Then we have Atletico Maribs, coached by Jude.
Yeah.
They
So this team
finally
is
got,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah, go ahead.
um the idea behind this team I think is like psychic terrain with iron boulder. Um to just do a bunch of damage with the psychic moves, and Mighty Cleave also goes through protect, so that's a really broken move. Iron Boulder is probably going to be doing most of the initial damage on this team, and then um, but it struggles with steel type, so that's where things like Keldeo, Cinderace come in. King Gambit is a bit weird on a Psychic Terrain team. I think it's a really good mon on its own, but there might be some anti-synergy there. Drifblim is a good unburden mon. It's good for like really fast tailwind and disruption with strength sap. Electabuzz redirection can set electric terrain if it wants to for Iron Boulder. And then this team is filled out with like low tier support. There's like Duosian, which is a really strong Trick Room setter, like a sneaky strong Trick Room setter. It has 125 base special attack. Granbull as an Intimidator. And then Shaman, I'm just assuming that's like a really bulky, like Leech Seed Pokemon.
So you mentioned Shaman, so Jude was like dying to have one uh, mythical mon in his team, but in the end he managed to get two mythical mons, so he might be happy with that right now. Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
other than that, I think Cinderace and Iron Boulder really do. well under tailwind, and this whole team works really well with psychic terrain. Even uh, the low D tier fusion can also uh, hit like a truck in psychic terrain with base 125 special attack, as you mentioned, and Caldeo is really good to work against steel types because of its typing, water and fighting typing, which resist steals and can put super effective moves against it. Uh, and other than that, I guess King Gambit works really well with this team because if your opponent decided to use your psychic terrain against you and started hammering this team with E4, so it totally absorbs those E4 moves.
Yeah.
Uh, but still, uh, Iron Boulder is really bulky, but I don't think it can do that much damage. In my opinion, it's like not really great mon as compared to other Paradox mons out there. It's not that offensive.
Yeah. I think it will struggle to do damage sometimes. It has a good move pool. I think Rock Psychic is a unique offensive typing, but I think it will struggle in some matchups. I agree. I had this team like low A tier.
Yeah,
I don't know where you'd put them.
I agree with.
Yeah.
So, how to compare with Stable? Below than Stabilize or above?
Um, I think I would have Jude's team above.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we have uh, Hithina Heat Trends, coached by Trip.
Yeah.
So they got Dragonite, Gyarados, Infernape, and Comfey as their core mons. So Gyarados is a really great mon still in Gen 9. It's working really hard, can intimidate and work really well under Tailwind, and Dragonite got like crazy Terra normal uh, extreme speed. Infernape is also really quick, doesn't need Tailwind to work really well. Other than that, Comfy can provide support to this team. Uh, so they got Flamingo, Oricorio, and Quaquaval core as well going on. Like Oricorio and Quaquaval can do their shenanigans a little bit here and there and power up the moves of Oricorio uh, so that they can use double attack that turn, copying those dancing moves. And Volcarona can work as both as support and offensive mon. So their opponent really had to figure out which mode the Volcarona is going in this round. So I think their team is built really well. Uh, they
I would say I really like the Volcarona and Gyarados core. I think those mons work really well together. Where for Gyarados, you can intimidate like the mons that might give Volcarona like trouble, so you can set up more easily with Volcarona. Dragonite is a good attacker, like you said. I think when I look at this team, I see it as kind of like a good stuff's core, but at the same time, I don't really see a ton of synergy outside of the Gyarados folk stuff, and then dancer stuff with Oricorio and Volcarona. Um, I think what this team kind of wants to do is like stack boosts with Volcarona, Oricorio, and Superior, and then my assumption is that like there's also like a Quaquaval sweeping mode where you can start like early game, get some Aqua Step and Moxie boosts, and then bring in Flamigo. I just think that this team doesn't really have like the support to get either of those modes going. I think it's like it's fun, it's cool, it's interesting, but I don't see like there's no screens on this team. I guess Comfy can set screens, but Comfy's a bit frail itself. You know, it has bulk, but it's not the most bulky thing. There's fake out from Infernape, I guess, but I don't know. I don't see like a ton of synergy that's gonna make the main modes of this team like work
Yeah,
effectively or
they need
consistently.
some redirection in this team. If you are using Volcarona as a Rage Powder support mon, then you are losing with uh, Quiver Dance and or Cardio synergy over there. So you can't run
Yeah,
both of those stuff. Uh,
yeah, exactly.
so yet again, Pachirutsu is available. Draft it. Or like, I guess Fungus. No, no. Alistair got Fungus. So yeah.
I think Pachirisu is on Sebas' team,
Oh, okay.
but uh, I don't know. I agree with you. Like if you are doing the redirection Volcarona, you're losing a lot of offense. So that's a good point. I had this team in C tier.
Yeah, I agree with you. So next up we have Blackthorn Bay Leaves.
Yeah. So this team quadrupled down on the mythical Pokemon, right? With Volcanion, Diancie, Manaphy, and Mew. Um, I think when you get Mythicals, what you're getting most of the time is like a really high base stat total mon. Usually, you know, has a lot of different options and modes that they could go for. So, um, and is also generally like going to be really bulky. And I think all of these mons check those
Hello.
boxes. I think this is going to be a difficult team to prep for that reason.
Yeah, I agree. They got Volcarona and DNC, a really good core, and oh sorry, Volcanion. Uh, and Volcanion is the best mythical mon after Megarna. I think it's equivalent to Megarna, and they
Yeah.
got Neoscrad as well. Like it was really good in Regulation A, but it got dropped out. But it's really good pick for like DTM mon, and it still got that flower trick critical hit every time. And what interesting in their team is like they got Mew as well, so they can use any move on it. Like for example, if they feel like their team is weak to fairy, so they just throw a Moonblast on it to counter those uh, mons, and they can use Mew as a redirection support mon as well, or like however they want. So Mew is really good pick for this team as well,
Yeah.
and
I
this
also really like Illumai's. Like
yeah
Illumai's Prankster Tailwind Encore can be disruptive. Can support Manaphy and like Volcanion with fake tears so that they just pick up like knockouts.
the other
Um,
thing that I want this team to use is like I don't know Eluma's got tail glow in this generation or not.
no, I think only Volbeat has Tail Glow
Oh,
and
okay.
Manaphy.
And Menifee, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and Manaphy.
so they can use Menifee and Volcanion uh, uh,
Yeah.
together. Like it's really crazy. I think this team is S tier for me because of its pure
Yes.
offensive.
Yeah. I could definitely see the argument for S tier. I had them. Where did I have them? I had them like a high B, low A tier. I really like everything, or I really like all the modes that they have. But I think that number one, there's some redundancy on this team. Like, I don't think Orthworm is necessary when you already have Diancie because Orthworm's whole thing is like the Iron Defense body press stuff. And Diancie already does that even better because it can attack and get an Iron Defense
Uh,
boost and then use body press.
I think Earthworm
Um,
is because of its ability because both Volcanion and DNC are weak to ground, so they will just switch out Volcanion or DNC with Earthworm so that its Earth Hitter can uh, heal Earthworm up and it will not take any damage in that turn. So I think it's
yeah,
for that reason. Uh,
I agree with that. I just think that like it's still a double up on roll, and if they wanted to do that same thing, they could have got something with levitate in the C tier.
yeah,
But I see the argument. I think we could put them in a. I don't know. I don't
okay,
think they're an S team, but
okay. So we will put it them in high A tier.
yeah, sure.
Next up we have Blazic and Blazers. So you can talk about this team because I don't want to say it myself.
Okay. So this is Alex's team. As you can see, it's a Sun team with Ninetales, Walking Wake, Slitherwing, and Venusaur as the Sun mode. Um, Walking Wake, I think, has proven that it has really, really high damage potential. Hydro Steam going up to 120 base power in Sun on top of like the potential photosynthesis boost. It kind of feels like this Pokemon has three types: Water, Dragon, and Fire. Because Flamethrower is also boosted in Sun. So this Mon is like really strong. It goes hit extremely hard. Um, Slitherwing, that Mon I think is kind of difficult to make work, but it like getting a free attack boost in the Sun on top of maybe having another item is really cool. And then, I think we all know what Venusaur can do. It's a chlorophyll mon, going to be faster than most things with Sun Up, and can put Pokemon to sleep, which is really annoying to deal with. And then on top of that, you have Morgrim, which is really good speed control. You have Squawkabilly. I think Squawkabilly, unironically, is a good low tier pick for Intimidate plus Final Gambit, Intimidate plus Tailwind. Interesting mon for sure. Malamar, I think is Malamar your only Trick Room setter?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I think Malamar is cool. I like it as a only Trick Room setter on a team that also has like Metagross and Ampharos and Mudsdale. Might be a little bit awkward, but I think all of these Pokemon individually are really good. The Sun mode is fun. I like it a lot, but you might rely a little bit too much on the Sun. I think you know.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I wanted to use like Sun with Walking Wake because I know it can hit like a truck and it's really offensive mon. So when I was picking Ninetales and Walking Wake, so I decided why not go with full Sun team with Venusaur and Slitherwings. Uh,
Yeah.
Other mons are just there to support this team, and you will see some tricks later on. Uh,
I'm
so,
interested.
how are you going to tier this team?
I put this one in high B tier, um, but I could also see A tier. I think, like offensively, like I said, this team is really strong and can be annoying to deal with because Venusaur plus Walking Wake is a really good combination. So either high B or low A, whichever you think you should put it
Oh,
at.
you should tier it, but okay, I put it in like IB tier. Okay. Next up we have irritator, irritable entities, coached by Crimson. So they got Tornadoes, Terrakion, Arcanid, and Hisuian Typhlosion, with interesting picks like Cresselia, and Lilligant Hisui, with Oricorio to go for a dance combo over there. Uh, so Tornadoes can set up Tailwind for this team, and can set up Sun for Typhlosion to do eruptions. Because Terra Fire eruption is really powerful. Once they set up Tailwind,
Yeah.
they don't really need to rely on Choice Scarf type Explosion. They can easily go with specs on it so that they can increase their damage output to like maximum potential. And other than that,
Yeah.
Raconid is really good mon. Like it's really defensive. Uh, can support this team as well with sticky webs if they wanted. Uh,
Yeah. I think so. The first thing that pops out to me when I see this team is that the first two picks are Tornadus and Cresselia, which, yes, means that they have incredible speed control, but also means that you're limiting yourself offensively after that because you invested so much in the speed control. Like, you invested two of your three high picks. Um, and that would be fine, but I don't think Terrakion is the right Pokemon to kind of make all those different modes work. Um, I do really like the fast mode, like you said, like Tailwind Sun mode with Typhlosion and Lilligant seems incredibly strong and also really annoying to deal with. But the slow mode I feel could have been developed a bit more. Araquanid is good, but doesn't have the synergy with the Sun mode. Um, yeah, and I don't see anything else that really wants to be in Trick Room on this team aside from maybe Avalugg, but I don't think Avalugg is really gonna win this team many games. Um, I feel this team. I would like this team a bit more if Terrakion were converted into something that would make like both modes work. Because when you have Terrakion, you kind of want Whimsicott next to it for the beat up stuff. But I don't think there is a beat up user on this team that can proc justified boosts. So I don't know. It's okay. It's got really good speed control, but also no redirection next to Typhlosion means that Sucker Punch can go into it freely, and then you can just pretty much um, like lower the damage from Eruption instantly. So
Cresselia can use like ally switch,
that's true. That's true.
so maybe they can go with that.
Yeah. Not fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I would put this team probably low B tier. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree with you. So before Lucario or after Lucario?
Um, I would say before.
Okay, cool. I don't know how to pronounce this next team. I will try to obliterate it. its name like Energet Knock, coded by Calais. Uh, so they got Ursaluna, Goldingo, Kilowattrel, and Taurus with Alchemy. They got Latios in Vivillon as well. I guess Ursaluna is really good under Trick Room and uh, it can work really well with Alchemy as well. So on the other hand, Vivillon can set up Tailwind, Kilowattrel can set up Tailwind, Vivillon can use Rage Powder to redirect moves away from Goldingo. Taurus is there for Intimidate, and they got best Taurus form in Taurus Blaze. It
Yeah.
can really
So
pick up knockouts under Tailwind. Yeah, so it because I used it quite often times, so it's really good under Tailwind. Like it's always been a kill leader. Uh, uh,
yeah.
for Trick Room team, I don't know who else is good under Trick Room other than Arsaluna for them.
Well, the thing is, this team doesn't actually have a Trick Room setter. Like, Latios does not learn Trick Room. So, Ursaluna is a bit of a weird fit, but I think, honestly, some teams might be caught off guard by what it can outspeed on their team. Like, it doesn't take a ton of investment for Ursaluna to outspeed, like, the base 135s, like Flutter main under Tailwind. So, his team has double Tailwind, or triple Tailwind with Vivillon, Latios, and Kilowattrel. I think the fast bear is kind of the X factor on this team, but there is still a lot more to this team. Like Goldingo is a really good setup threat, or just like a specs user, just does a ton of damage. Tauros, Intimidator, damage control, can also do a ton of damage. And then Vivian, like this mon can run friend guard sets with redirection, or it can run like compound eye sets with 99% accurate sleep powders. It's a really good mon, especially for B tier. I really like the value of that pick. Um, Alchemy, like you said, is good. Decorate is a really good move that I think you can use it on your ally even through Protect. So, um, yeah, that mon can basically give you a free boost to either stat, a free +2 boost.
But Gold,
Latios is cool.
but Goldingo
What'd you
is
say?
immune.
Dango is immune. Yes, that's right. Um, Latios is cool. I think it's like slightly less bulky than Latias, but still, hits hard. Still has pretty good bulk. Really good options. Like I think its move pool is like kind of extremely good. Like it's wide move pool, has a lot of coverage moves and support moves. Um, I really like Latios there on this team. Just the one thing is that without Trick Room setup, this team might be a little bit weak. It's just a little bit weird when you draft Ursaluna as your S tier and then don't get a Trick Room setter.
That's true. Other than that, Goldingo can create some havoc here and there, but it's the only mon that's going to carry this team, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
for that, I think we should put it in mid B tier.
Yeah. I had this team high B tier.
Okay.
Anywhere in B is fine, I think.
Next up, we have Albuquerque Appletons, coached by VZ. So they got the best mythical mon Megarna alongside Darkrai that can put that has 75% chance to put both of the mons to sleep in a single turn, and it's really scary when you combine it with Megarna. Uh, like if Darkrai put both the opponents to sleep and Megarna is on the field, it can really set up using Calm Mind and can go from there. Then they got Magmortar to redirect as well, and they got Dragapult as well here with Primarina, which is getting really uh, good viability in this format using Throat Spray and its liquid voice Sparkling Aura and Hyper Voice combos.
Yep.
Uh,
I think this team is like honestly, offensively, it might be one of the best teams in this draft. Um, Magearna Darkrai, I think, is a really good combination offensively because like Darkrai doesn't like bug types, fighting types, but then Magearna takes nothing from bug. It's a quad resist to bug, and then fighting types don't like taking fairy moves. Um, Room is where this team will really excel because they have Rhyperior Primarina. But then there's also redirection with Magmortar, like you mentioned, to help set up Trick Room more easily. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one thing that this team lacking is a fake out user. Redirection will help with setting up Trick Room. I also think this team is slightly lacking a developed Tailwind mode because they have like Dragapult, where they invest an A tier pick, but then their Tailwind center is Oricorio, which is a D tier pick. So I think it might be a little bit hard. Maybe that doesn't support Darkrai as much as it needs to. Maybe it does. I guess we'll see. Um, and then honestly, I think this team also gets really good value out of its lower tier picks. Like Primarina, Rhyperior are really good sweepers. Chestnut, I think, is a good support piece. It gets like Wide Guard, Leech Seed, Taunt, Spiky Shield, Knockoff, and Coaching. So I think, like honestly, like that could be a really good piece for them that um, we might not be like that your eyes might not be drawn to immediately. And then Muck, you can't ignore it because of the minimize stuff. Zangoose also has high damage potential, so I think overall really strong team. Just missing just a few small pieces.
if I have to pick one team to win this league, I would pick this team, to be honest. Like, it has potential to win this season because I don't think Dragonport ever needed a tailwind to like outspeed anything. If they think their opponents are going to outspeed Dragonport, they can just simply run choice specs on it if they wanted to use it without the trick room mode. Uh, Other than that, this team really works really well under trick room. They don't need anything else over there. So
Yeah,
can we put it
I don't even
into
think that's.
S tier?
I could see S tier. I had them very high A tier, so S tier I think is completely fine.
Okay, next up we have Livani's
Yeah,
coached by Sebas. So they got Whimsicott and Hylap and Porygon Z. Whimsicott and Porygon Z are really good combo. Like Porygon Z requires support from Whimsicott using fake tears and tailwind so that it can use its like 135 base attack, a special attack. They got also Chiyu in this team, which can decrease special defense even more. They got redirection with Pachirisu, got fake out with Scrafty, and
yeah,
the only two physical attackers in this team are Scrafty and Annihilate. Uh,
yeah.
So they
That
are
is
really
true.
going with like special attacks, special defense drop mode with this team, I guess.
Yeah. I think honestly, this is my favorite team in the draft. I think this, if I had to pick a team to win it all based on team composition, I think I would pick this team because I mean, just look at each pick. There's value at every single pick aside from like I guess the E tiers. I think Whimsicott supports everything on this team extremely well. Um, the beat up stuff with Annihilate, the Tailwind fake tier stuff with Chiyu and Porygon, also Sunny Day for Chiyu. There's Intimidate Fake Out from Scrafty, there's Redirection from Pachirisu, and also Speed Control with Nuzzle Paralysis. And then there's even a Trick Room mode, which I think honestly is not like is actually pretty good because what you can do with Chimecho Dragalge is uh, Chimecho is like a low key, bulky Trick Room setter with Levitate, so you can set Trick Room, or you can also like have an offensive mode with Chimecho where your opponent will ignore Chimecho, and you can just start stacking Cosmic Power boosts and then sweep in the late game with like Charge Beam and Stored Power stuff. And Dragalge, I think, covers for some of the weaknesses that this team has to fairy types in a way. Um, in Trick Room, I think that mon will be really good. That's another adaptability Pokemon. And Whimsicott Dragalge is a good Trick Room mode in the same way that like Chiyu Whimsicott or Porygon Whimsicott is a good Tailwind mode because Whimsicott can get off those priority fake tiers, and then Dragalge can click like Sludge Bomb or Draco Meteor into those slots. So I think honestly, offensively, this is my favorite team in the entire draft. I really like this team.
Yeah, every mon gets sport from Whimsicott so they can shine in their respective games according to how they wanted to go in that team. So yeah, I agree with you. So where do you want to put this team?
I had this team in S tier.
Okay, we can put it in S tier below Appletons.
Sure.
Next up we have Nightmares, New York Nightmares, coached by Stacks.
Yep, that's me. So, since I talked about your team, do you want to talk about mine?
Yeah, sure. So it's another Sun team with Torkoal Gorging Fire. So it can get photosynthesis boost and has really good uh, move with uh, its protect. I don't know the name of the move, but it can burn the opponent whenever they protects with Gorging Fire. NDD can provide psychic support uh, with Psychic Train, and Gallade can use E-Spam. Same goes with Executor. Gallade has Void Guard as well, so it will support this team from Rock Slides, which both Gorging Fire and Torkoal are weak to, along with Staraptor. Then Staraptor got Intimidate, Tailwind support for this team. Persian Alola is really good pick, like it can use Parting Shot to lower the defenses and has Fake Out support as well. Then it can do other shenanigans as well, like I don't know, like what Persian Alola got. Like it's really good sport one. Uh, then Florges is also a great pick for this team because a lot of things are weak to like dragon type, so they this Florges will help them against them.
Yep. Yeah, so uh, this is kind of like a hybrid Tail Room mode. I have the Tricker mode with Torkoal, Rampardos, and then and Gallade. I also have the fast mode with Gouging or Staraptor, and Gallade can also be in the fast mode as well, and Exeggutor. I just think like there's a couple distinct modes on this team, all of which kind of mesh well in a way. So like I have the Sun mode, uh, where I just do a ton of damage under Trigger with Torkoal, or I have Exeggutor in Sun with Psychic Terrain up, and I'm just firing off expanding forces next to Gouging Fire, ideally. Redirection with NDD, Fake Out with Persian, and like good speed control, good support with Persian. And then I think where this team excels is it just has a ton of damage output like from everywhere. So I don't think this is like the most well-crafted team, but I think I'm gonna have fun with it, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this team got like both Tailwind and Trick Room mons to abuse both the speed control modes, and other than that, it's not really restricted to just one gimmick. Like it can work really well under Sun, it can work really well under Psychic Terrain, and it can work really well with without both of those modes. Like with the Ramp Rodos, you can just go with Trick Room and hit heavy hitter rock type moves with it with head smash ability. Uh,
Yep, absolutely.
so I will put this team in like A tier.
Okay, thank you.
Up we have Salty Slow Kings coached by Esfro. So they got Hoopa as their first pick alongside Meowstick. Other than that, it goes really down for them, I guess. Like Corviknight is really not a great B tier pick. Slazel can do fake out, but it's really frail. It can easily one hit KO with any move, so you always have to run Focus Sash on it. If you are using Focus Sash on Slazel, then you are leaving your Meowstick without Sash. So it's really contradicting over there. And Hoopa also requires Sash because it got really terrible defenses. And
Yep.
it's 4 times weak to bug moves and all. There are really good physical bug moves and physical bug type Pokemon, and U-turn is really given to everybody nowadays. So I guess their team is really
Yeah.
weak to U-turn because Hoopa, Meowstick, Laurentis, everybody is weak to that. Uh,
Yeah. I
Conkeldurr
agree. I think
can shine under Trick Room, right? Yeah,
which
go ahead.
Pokemon? Yeah, I think this team probably functions better as a Trick Room team. It doesn't have many fast speed tiers. I think the fastest is Salazzle at like 113 or something like that. Um, I think like the Hoopa pick was a little bit confusing because I think it's really high of a value for a Pokemon that has so many weaknesses. Like it has a 4 times weakness to bug, like you said. It's weak to fairy. It's not technically weak to any other type, but it also the only resistance or immunity it has is psychic. So like every type is gonna hit this thing for a lot of damage, especially on the physical side. So I think to make Hoopa work, it needed really good support. And it is flexible in that it can run viable sets on both the physical and special side, but I think that like once you figure out what this team wants to do, like maybe if you scout in game 1, I don't think it would be necessarily hard to beat in game 2 and game 3 because I think like Salazzle, Corviknight, Conkelder, Lurantis, they all kind of feel like they do one thing, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like the most flexible team to me outside of like the Hoopa Meowstic combo. And I guess whatever set that Rotom can run. Um, I think like there's high damage potential, but it kind of relies on like catching the opponent off guard, and that's not going to happen to every team. So I think for me, this is like an okay team. Like it's like probably B tier.
I'm thinking of more of a C tier, but yeah, we can put it in like low B tier, definitely.
Sure.
And the last team for today is Toronto Talonflame, coached by Mustard or Alistair, however you want to call them. So they drafted Fluttermane alongside Archelodon. Uh, they got Volbeat as well to get Tail Glow, Bitten Pass to Fluttermane or Archelodon if they manage to do that. And they got uh, really good C tier pick in Toracat. It is really bulky with Eviolite and can do all the shenanigans that uh, Incineroar does, and it's really bulkier than Incineroar in a way that it's really hard to remove it from the field. Then they got Fungus as well for redirection. Urshifu Rapid Strike, the main contender in this team. Like they can set up a Rain with Volbeat, which both Archelodon and Urshifu can enjoy and thrive under it. Uh, they can use belly drum set on Hariyama as well to surprise their opponents. They got all the redirection and all the support to do that, and it's really interesting to see if they ever wanted to set up Trick Room and use belly drum on Hariyama. Other than that, Fluttermane is really fragile, uh, and they really rely on like Fluttermane, Archelodon, and Urshifu Rapid Strike to carry this team.
Yeah, I mean, which are all really, really good Pokemon. I think that Fluttermane and Urshifu have really good synergy, and then all of them, all of Fluttermane, Archaludon, and Urshifu do really well with Volbeat. So I really like that combo. And then like you said, like the Trick Room mode, Latariyama, Hatchroom. I just the biggest thing about this team to me is that like yes, they have really good support in Torcat, Fungus, Hatchroom. Um, but they have I think five Pokemon that need an Eviolite, so you have to bring one each week because there's only 10 on a roster, six come to a game, so you have to bring one each week. If you ever want to bring two, then one of them can't have an Eviolite, obviously, because of item clause. So, like, while in theory I like the combination of like the mini Incineroar with Torracat and the mini Amoonguss with Fungus, it's a little weird to see like so many like to see those on the same team. With that said, I still really like this team because I think like in theory like the Urshifu Flutter or Chaladon Volbeat is like kind of like it feels a little bit like a meta team, like a VGC, a real VGC team.
Yeah, it's like a
With
god tier
Volbeat
picks.
substituting
Yeah,
for like
those four are like god
yeah.
tier picks for this team. But other than that, it's really hard to choose from all these NFE mons. Like you have to run Eviolite to make them bulky, but they can't survive without Eviolite. Uh, so you have to run a Focus Sash on them.
Right. So it's weird. I think it has high potential, but it also has a low floor. you know.
Yeah, uh, because the opposing team just have to like prep for like only 3 months because they know that those 3 months are the only main offensive months for this team, so they can easily prep for them and counter this team really easily. For that
For
reason,
sure.
I think we can put them in like low B tier. Uh,
Yeah, I can see it.
so that wraps up our UBDL Season 11 Wi-Fi PRs. Finally, we are done with it after waiting for like 1.5 weeks.
Sorry for the wait.
Yeah, sorry. And have fun, guys. And thanks, Stax, for joining me to do this fun, really fun PRs.
You, Alex, for having me.